The WNBA assumed that all they needed to do was to issue Sophie Cunningham a fine and call it a day. But the story takes an even stranger turn. The league never saw the memo coming. Cunningham turned a $400 fine into a multi-million-dollar triumph. Yes, you read that right. Cunningham managed to publicly embarrass the very organization that penalized her. She's now exposing injustices the league has long chosen to ignore.
Hey, before we get into the video, be sure to enter our brand new giveaway. We'll be giving away any of these items. It's your choice. To enter the giveaway, leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, turn on notifications, and most importantly, watch the whole video. It's that simple.
How did she pull off? In a heated contest against the Connecticut Sun, Cunningham decided to take matters into her own hands in a setting where officials have often looked the other way, while Caitlyn Clark was relentlessly targeted. The crowd went wild as her actions led to a decisive blowout. In a single night, Cunningham became an Indiana fever icon. This is the account of how, at a time when the WNBA is grappling with its own failings, one forceful foul not only shifted the course of a game, but also laid bare the league's officiating flaws and immortalized Cunningham in the process. Caitlyn Clark isn't merely comparable to basketball legends like LeBron James or Stephen Curry. She may well be the very heartbeat of the WNBA. Everything changed when she accounted for a staggering 17% of all flagrant foul calls during her rookie season in 2024, an almost unbelievable share that highlights how often she was singled out. Despite suiting up for only 40 games, Clark was on the receiving end of 12 out of the league's 70 most egregious fouls, according to WNBA game data. That level of physicality hasn't let up this season. It was set in motion by incidents like Carrington eye poke in 2024 and Kennedy Carter's body check, and continues today as Clark endures brutal fouls and uncalled contact in 2025, provoking outrage among fans and analysts alike. One particularly egregious moment came during the 2024 playoffs when an eye poke by Carrington briefly sidelined Clark, helping the Sun oust the Fever in the first round. Clark then missed several games in June 2025 due to a minor injury purportedly linked to the cumulative toll of such contact. In her absence, viewership plunged by 55%, from an average of 9.9 million for her games to under 4.5 million, and ticket sales took a 30% hit at venues like Gainbridge Fieldhouse, as reported by Sportico. Why does this matter? Clark's time off not only exposed the Fever's vulnerabilities, but underscored just how reliant the entire WNBA is on her star power. She's been the primary catalyst behind the league's recent surge in popularity, unlike LeBron or Curry, who share the spotlight with multiple all-time greats. To suggest that the 2024 rookie class or the overall talent pool is driving the WNBA's expansion is simply false reporting. Clark's games, coupled with her ESPN broadcasts, accounted for 18 of the 21 WNBA contests that cracked 1 million viewers in 2024. While matchups against fellow superstars like Aya Wilson and Angel Reese drew sizable audiences, interest evaporated whenever Clark sat out. Clark's influence extends beyond the court. She's directly responsible for the WNBA's $200 million annual media rights deal and a 170% jump in viewership in 2024. And that's just scratching the surface. No athlete in any major sport wields such outsized sway. Opponents now see Clark as the league's golden goose. At this point, things start to get risky. In February 2025, during a parade celebrating the team, 28-year-old guard Sophie Cunningham arrived in Indianapolis after a trade from the Phoenix Mercury. Known for her physical style and nicknamed Spicy Sophie, Cunningham quickly assumed the role of Clark's in-game protector. That reputation was cemented on June 17, 2025, during a fiercely contested game against the Connecticut Sun, and this is the point at which everything goes totally wrong. An enduring rival from Clark's Big Ten days, JCS Sheldon of the Connecticut Sun, jabbed Clark in the eye and ignited a shoving match with the Fever leading 88-71 in the final minute. Moments later, Sun guard Marina Mabrey shoved Clark to the floor, escalating the chaos. Officials handed technical fouls to Tina Charles and Clark, while Sheldon drew only a flagrant foul which is hardly the deterrent needed. But then came the unexpected turn. Infuriated by the referee's inaction, Cunningham intervened herself. With 46 seconds left, she wrapped her arms around Sheldon and drove her forcefully to the court, sparking a bench-clearing brawl that drew in Cunningham, Sheldon, and Suns guard Lindsey Allen. In response, the WNBA fined Cunningham $400 for her 2 fouls plus an undisclosed additional penalty for her role in the fracas. If you think that's bad, you haven't heard the worst. It's been building for years, Cunningham told reporters without remorse. They refused to protect the WNBA's star. My mission is to safeguard my teammates. Head coach Stephanie White concurred, lambasting officials for losing control. Given the league's history, the blow-up seemed inevitable and, in hindsight, completely justified. Fans, fed up with Clark's relentless targeting, cheered Cunningham's bold move. Viral social media posts hailed her as a hero and the enforcer willing to confront the league's officiating failures. By warning the WNBA not to cross Caitlyn Clark, Cunningham cemented her legend. Her hard foul transcended mere retaliation. It was a statement. If referees won't protect Clark, she will. Cunningham's enforcer persona is backed by a black belt in Taekwondo earned at age 6, underscoring her dominant presence. "Oh my God, Sophie's a beast," one commentator exclaimed. "She's fierce, versatile, and relentless, and she'll be our backbone all season." Criticism of WNBA officiating has only intensified around Clark's treatment. Despite fewer minutes than veterans like Aya Wilson or Breanna Stewart, Clark drew a league-high 12 flagrant fouls in 2024. Nearly every game this season has featured uncalled contact against her, perpetuating an alarming pattern. A Washington Post analysis found that referees routinely overlook aggressive plays, turning the league into an overly brutal, highly physical arena. Las Vegas Aces coach and respected commentator Becky Hammond supported Cunningham's actions. "People are sick of unchecked hits. There's too much grabbing, bumping, and fouling that goes uncalled. This is what happens when elite competitors, women at the top of their game, are allowed to play with that level of physicality. They'll fight for their teammates every time." Yet most observers miss this point. The WNBA hesitates to defend Clark for reasons beyond officiating. Its culture perpetuates the problem. Penalties remain inconsistent, even when veterans like John Phil Jones or Alyssa Thomas commit flagrant fouls on Clark. Take Kennedy Carter's 2024 body check. It was only upgraded to a flagrant without suspension. The sustained harassment of a rookie sensation without official protection has been enabled by the league silence. And if you think that's appalling, consider that Sun coach Rishma Zain called Cunningham's foul impolite and reckless. But fans and analysts argue that the true disrespect is the WNBA's failure to shield its most valuable asset. Ticket sales and television ratings continued to slide in Clark's absence, and not even the home court advantage at Gainbridge Fieldhouse could arrest the downer. To begin with, credit must be given where it is due. There really is no contest when it comes to Caitlyn Clark's impact on the WNBA. ESPN reports that her games attracted an average of 9.9 million viewers in 2024, marking a staggering 170% increase from the league's overall average of between 5.8 and 8 million. The Fever's home contest sold out 90% of the time, and Clark's presence drove a 30% increase in ticket sales across the entire league. Sportico data further reveals that when Clark sat out in June 2025, the WNBA's television ratings plunged by 55% and attendance at non-Fever games collapsed by roughly 30%. At that moment, the situation became even more striking. This dramatic reversal makes it abundantly clear that Clark herself, rather than any rookie cohort or established stars such as Aya Wilson, is the primary draw. Social media chatter on X underlines the point. One commenter flatly stated, "Without Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA would be nothing." When she was off the court, the numbers confirm the sentiment. In fact, some argue that her influence rivals or even exceeds what LeBron James achieved in the NBA. By the end of this piece, you'll understand precisely why. But Clark's impact extends beyond audience figures. She commands endorsement revenue that dwarfs her WNBA salary of $76,535. She rakes in $11 million in sponsorships and recently signed a $28 million contract with Nike. Those earnings expose the stark pay gap that still plagues the league. Even during its most lucrative season ever in 2024, the WNBA reported a $40 million operating loss, underscoring its fragile financial state. Clark's ability to attract enormous media rights agreements and routinely fill arenas makes her nothing short of indispensable. Yet her relationship with the league is strained by ongoing officiating controversies, and those tensions threaten to drive a wedge between Clark, her fan base, and WNBA leadership. The twist that follows is nothing short of astonishing. Sophie Cunningham's meteoric rise came at a modest cost to herself, a $400 fine. Despite that penalty, her Instagram following exploded by 350,000, and her TikTok audience leapt from 400,000 to 1.2 million in just 48 hours after the incident, according to Sportico. Fans reported that her number 8 Fever jersey sold out almost immediately, with restocks not expected until July 8, 2025. According to marketing firm STN Digital, acquiring 1 million followers across social platforms would typically cost a brand over $1 million. Cunningham-sponsored posts, once valued at $10,000 apiece, now command as much as $20,000. And that is only the beginning. Cunningham's trajectory mirrors that of Kate Martin, who outpaced Aya Wilson in jersey sales in 2024. While Clark's own success boosted her teammates via a halo effect, Cunningham's newly minted role as the league's enforcer has further enhanced her appeal. One viral post on X earned 141,000 likes and 1.2 million views, prompting fans to dub her a national treasure. Anticipated deals with Adidas and Quest Nutrition are expected to multiply her off-court earnings into the millions. Yet even these astonishing figures pale in comparison to what happened next. Despite a $40 million loss in 2024, the WNBA failed to capitalize on Clark's popularity in the same way Cunningham did, through social media buzz and merchandise sales. That disconnect prompted me to dig deeper, and I uncovered that 388 individuals had signed a petition demanding Cunningham's expulsion for unsportsmanlike conduct. Instead of damaging her reputation, the petition galvanized her supporters and solidified her status as Clark's defender. In their eyes, the $400 fine represented the best investment imaginable. And now, for the most unexpected conclusion. Rather than retreating from the controversy, Cunningham transformed it into her most powerful asset. By standing up for Clark and converting a minor penalty into a multi-million-dollar branding windfall, she reshaped the narrative entirely. At this juncture, the stakes have never been higher for the league, and everything will hinge on what unfolds next. The WNBA now finds itself at a critical turning point, its future clouded by deep financial woes and persistent officiating controversies. Caitlyn Clark's astonishing 17% share of flagrant foul calls in 2024, followed by continued targeting in 2025, makes it painfully clear that the league has failed to protect its biggest star. With a $40 million operating shortfall, even after a record-setting season, the WNBA cannot afford to alienate Clark or her devoted following. Everything now hinges on what happens next. Once Sophie Cunningham embraced the role of Clark's on-court protector, the narrative shifted dramatically. By stepping in where referees would not, she sent a bold message. You must safeguard your premier talent or someone else will. Clark's critical role in the Fever's success, averaging 21.3 points and 8.7 assists per game, is reflected in their 8-7 record as of late June 2025. Thanks to Cunningham's willingness to defend her teammate, Clark could focus fully on her performance, significantly bolstering the team's playoff ambitions. Meanwhile, Cunningham's merchandise sales surpassed even those of Aya Wilson, and her social media footprint exploded, earning her unwavering support from fans across the league. In that moment, everything fell into place. Despite the $400 fine levied against her, Cunningham has emerged triumphant while the league struggles to harness Clark's star power. That modest penalty looks more like a bargain considering the worldwide attention it drew to the WNBA's officiating failures and the way it elevated Cunningham to fan-favorite status. In protecting Clark, she became the guardian the WNBA never realized it needed, transforming a controversy into a multi-million-dollar opportunity. Caitlyn Clark herself stands as the single most valuable asset in women's professional basketball, outshining even LeBron James or Stephen Curry in the NBA by driving 55% of all viewership and 30% of ticket revenue. The reality is simply remarkable. While league officials scrambled to manage the fallout, Clark and Cunningham rewrote the rules of engagement. Who is really celebrating now? By the time Cunningham took action, the officials had already lost control, but only after declaring that things had gone too far. What do you think of the WNBA referees? Will players keep treating fines as a minor cost of revenge? Or will genuine reform ever arrive? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth coverage of this unfolding saga.